Hey, what's going on, you guys? It's Brad Gebhardt here from Big MX Radio. Just want to take a moment here to talk a little bit about SMX and whether or not I thought that it was a successful venture. These three races at the end of the series, and honestly, I has to be a resounding yes. Like as a fan of racing, what do you want to see? You want to see unique races that are interesting to watch, that are entertaining to watch, and at the end of the day, you don't exactly know what's going to happen. And we got that three times out of three with the SMX races. We saw unique tracks that, okay, not all of them were extremely good about passing, but aside from them being like just that characteristic of the racetrack, which of course is very important. I'm not going to say that's not important. The fact that these tracks were different, these tracks were unique, they were very interesting to look at how these guys were going to unpack them. A lot of the riders looked uncomfortable as far as bike setup, and as a fan, you love that. As a team manager or mechanic, you absolutely hate that, especially as a rider, you hate that. But as a fan, if you're just watching these guys, like, yeah, you want to see them make it look hard a little bit. And honestly, I think that the Supermotocross thing, there are some bugs that need to be worked out, just as far as the point structure or how things get settled, things get in. Honestly, I think to myself, as far as getting into these races, I would honestly like to see more of like a concrete. These are your 20 guys, and then maybe you have six guys that race in some sort of a B main during the qualifying, and then if there is anyone who needs to be implemented, say if there's a crash during qualifying or there's sort of like a crash in one of the two main events, those guys would then be like appointed as an alternate. I think that would be maybe a little bit better of a scenario than say straight up the LCQs, but maybe that's just because that's how this worked out this year. What I think a lot of people need to remind themselves is that like both motocross and supercross as legitimate sports in North America have been around for 50 years. This was the very first season of SMX. And if you'd spun the clocks back 50 years when they were first covering the Super Bowl of motocross, I'm sure there's a few people that had that eyebrow raised. Like, really? Outdoor motocross in the friendly confines of the LA Coliseum? How's this ever going to catch on? Well, it did. And now it's Monster Energy Supercross, and we absolutely love it. Um, how it's viewed today may be very different. Like honestly, if you think about those first championships when Jimmy Ellis and Pierre Carsmakers were winning those first Supercross championships, when you look back at it, it doesn't really seem like that much of a huge accomplishment. A lot of times it was either just one race, three races, four races max, and it didn't really have its cachet that it has now, obviously, and that's what happens when things take time. Like the original winners of the Super Bowl or the Stanley Cup, or even the Major League, like the World Series, like it just it didn't hold as much weight to it because there isn't that history and the prestige. But that's sort of baked into the pie of things needing to take time to sort of bake and develop and create something special. What I would love to see from the SMX series is I'd like to see a little bit longer a series. I'd honestly love to see either a four or a five race series. Maybe the first three rounds are regular points, double it into the second last round and the final round, go with the triples. I honestly didn't mind that at all, given the fact that Jordan Smith had a chance to win this championship and the after winning the first round, like that is absolutely wild to me. But anyway, I think it would be really interesting. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments and leave a like and subscribe if you could. That would really help out the channel. We're just sort of starting to get going along here. So liking these videos would give me, first of all, a lot of encouragement and would really help out. So hopefully you guys will do that for me. Anyway, what was my favorite thing? People were asking about this on Instagram. If you're not already following Big MX Radio on Instagram, please do. I'm also on Twitter. Is I love the tracks. The tracks look so neat to me, and what I love about SMX is it creates the potential for some unique obstacles that we haven't seen before, or at least maybe the combination of obstacles that we haven't seen. Because it's like we're not reinventing the sport, but in a way we can sort of reinvent how we approach the sport and some of the things that we tackle in these events. I think I really liked it. The 65s blew my mind. The super minis were honestly like the main event was a bit of a melee with all those guys going down. Um, maybe that wasn't the best scenario for them, just how soft that track was. I talked to Darren Pine and Carson Milliken today, and both guys said the track was super, super soft. So that kind of like held them back a little bit. But Super Minis, absolutely love to watch them race. I did like that they put the amateur all stars into the daytime program and then showed it right before the show went live. They basically made that part of the pre-race show for the final round. I think the final round should be the main guys and the main guys only. I love the amateurs. I love to watch Drew Adams and those guys do their thing, but I think that should be part of the daytime program and sort of is maybe a little bit of a peek behind the curtain for those who actually watch in person to go watch that race and see what's going on with that. One of the questions that I had for some of my good friends, as well as an article that I did for Verb Moto, is where do you see this in 10 years? I got some mixed responses on this. Zach Osborne essentially says that thinks that this is going to be the future of the sport and that SMX is going to basically transform into what we have as a 30 round series throughout the entire year. And you're going to have like some races that are supercross, some of them that are SMX, and you're going to have races that are full on outdoors. And actually, I think it would be kind of neat to be able to sort of mix some of these rounds and change some things up as far as when we go to certain places. Like we just had a like one very outdoor style, one very supercross style, and one that was kind of cut down the middle. And wouldn't it be interesting to be able to go to a state like Florida or Texas in the middle of winter and be able to do that? I think that'd be really interesting. So you guys can let me know what you think about that in the comments. Going back to a place like Freestone would be pretty neat if you're able to go there, say in like either December or in the springtime before the races go on. But for the most part, like not that I don't love Fox Raceway, but essentially like 10 nationals is almost a perfect number as far as great tracks that we have. I'm sure there's some other great tracks in America that we could go to. There's been obviously we've reduced from 12 rounds to 10, 11 rounds, and like Fox Raceway, we were going there twice at one point. I think twice is way too much. Once is definitely enough. But for me, I think this would be a great opportunity to make this a 10 round series for outdoor motocross. I would love to see maybe say 15 rounds for the for the Supercross series, and then that would allow for three extra rounds to be added to SMX, and then yeah, so then you'd actually have 6 rounds of SMX, which would be pretty interesting. So anyway, I just wanted to come on here and talk about that with you guys. You guys can let me know what you think in the comments. But leave a like, subscribe if you like this content. Let me know what you thought about it, and thanks for watching.